All right, I think we are live. I am joined by Bryan again. This is what's the name of our podcast, Bryan? Give him the name of our podcast.
The Movie Manual.
The Movie Manual.
I had to think. The gears were turning.
All right.
We went through a lot of iterations before this, and we arrived at the Movie Manual, and it was sold because it was a 99-cent domain. It was a really good name. So Movie Manual was going to cost us split down the middle. It was made $2,300 investment.
Yeah.
However, the Movie Manual.
You had an article.
That's all you have to do. That's a domain buying 101. Come here for the movie. Stay here for the domain tips.
So there you go. Well, we're saving you money. You know, any podcasters out there trying to get into the game.
They call it adding value. Viet.
Right. So let's start off. Again, if you didn't catch our introduction video, you can check that out, and we'll just bring it up now. The theme of season 1 for us is chick flicks. The first movie that we did, 10 Things I Hate About You, the classic from 1999, and boy, did it. It was like 90s all over the place. The soundtrack was 90s all over. It was incredible, like an incredible love letter to the 90s. It's really good.
It's a time capsule. It's as though we buried a time capsule of the 1990s. Decided 20 years later, let's open this bad boy up and see what happens.
We'll call it 10 Things I Hate About You. All right, we'll start it off. What do we remember of this movie? What were our general impressions? I think going in, we were pretty clear from the introduction.
Limited.
We did not know much. We kind of knew who was in there. We knew that there was a musical number. We knew that Heath Ledger at some point would go out there with a band and
across the football stadium and singing. And I didn't remember the song, but it makes a lot of sense. The song was what it was.
Yeah.
There was not much beyond that other than I remembered that Julia Stiles was unlikable, like intentionally unlikable, and that was her character, and he was trying to woo her. And then some of the subplots came back very quickly, but just cold. I would be fraudulent to say like what I remembered beyond that.
Right. Yeah. Padua High, very very robust curriculum, lots of incredible extracurricular activities.
Archery?
But like very unsafe. Like they're like golfing, but like onto the football field with the track team.
But not only the track, like band practice, soccer. There's a lot going on. Yeah. They maximized that field.
I don't think they knew how to schedule. They didn't know how to schedule things back in 1999. Google wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah, Google Calendar would have helped these people out a lot. Oh, there were computers in the background. Okay, but I don't want to get too far into it.
Computer. Okay, for the youngins out there that don't know, but there was a time when computers were just an accessory in the classroom. They were just back there. They were like, we have them. We can use them.
A lot of apples. There was a Mac. Yeah. Okay.
It was the guys that were going to be MBA students.
Yeah,
they had one laptop. All right, so we're going to start off the first thing was what do we remember? Not much. So second thing is let's give them a quick breakdown. Bryan, I'm going to throw it to you. Give us a little synopsis.
So should I use the character names or
sure?
Okay. So Patrick, played by Heath Ledger. Is a major player in this. I guess the protagonist is Cameron, who is played by Joseph Gordon. Love it. He is wooing a girl. He's new to school. He's wooing what he considers to be the prettiest girl at the school. Is guided by a friend. He's kind of assigned a guide by the counselor to kind of shepherd him through the school. They befriend each other very quickly, and he sets his sights almost instantaneously on Bianca. So Bianca has a sister.
Yeah.
Her sister is, I'm looking at it here, Katerina, played by Julia Stiles.
Also, just shout out, I'm seeing Len Hart in the live feed. Hey, by the way, big fan from the Pride days. I mean, big fan in general.
Awesome.
Big fan in general.
So Julia Stiles is the unlikable one who Heath Ledger is trying to woo. There's a little bit of underneath who a couple guys are trying to woo Bianca. A little skeezy guy is also trying to get after her. And the dad has basically tied their social lives together. One is an antisocial, one is a super younger, blossoming young woman, and basically his gimmick is to say, unless the older sister, who never wants to do anything, considers going out,
right,
you the cool one cannot go out.
Right. Basically, I want to protect one of my daughters, so unless both of my daughters leave the house out of my sight, I don't feel safe.
Set in Seattle, he's a physician. He's an OBGYN. Right. So he's
gets very graphic about his job,
about his teenage pregnancies. So he's a single father raising 2 girls, doing the best that he can, and struggling.
Yeah.
So what happens from there?
You were gonna take it the whole way.
I can't. Okay, I'll take it the whole way. I was trying to let you in on the action. I wanted to pass the ball.
I'm good. You got the summary. I mean, I can't jump in. So basically, you got the groundworks laid in. Have we gotten to the exchange of money yet?
Yeah.
At this point.
So it's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I can't remember their characters' names to save my life.
We'll just go with the actors. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, who is infatuated with the younger of the sisters, then comes up with a plan. Not by himself. He has like this
his guide. It's his guide.
Yeah, his buddy. His buddy tells him that like, hey, let's
played by David Krumholtz.
Right. Illustrious career.
Freaks and Geeks. He was in some stuff. He's a guy whose face you know.
Yeah, and looking pretty good.
If there's a Jewish guy in the movie, it's like 50% him.
Is this? So yeah, they have this plan. It's like, let's get someone to date the older sister.
Yeah, so that you can, because of the dad's gimmick of the younger one cannot date unless the older one is dating. They have to come up with a clever plan, which is to pay the tough guy in school, who has a mysterious background, Heath Ledger, to take out, I guess, tame the beast is what they say in the movie.
The shrew.
Well, yeah, well, that's the name. That's what it's based on. But yeah, they call her. Yeah. Did they call her the shrew in the movie?
I think they did.
Okay, that makes sense.
They did.
Yeah.
They were on.
This is based on Shakespeare.
Couple Shakespearean lines in there.
Yeah, just word for word. So homage to Bill.
So let's see here. So they get Joey, who's the antagonist of the movie, kind of like your high school all-American douchebag.
He's dreamy. He's a good-looking man.
Good-looking dude. Sexist.
A lot of that stuff would not play in 2019.
Yeah,
1999 was letting it all hang out.
1999 was that was a wild time. you could make fun of a woman.
Pretty much anything.
You could just say whatever. You could just call the woman the B word. That was fine. That was just like whatever.
Acceptable. Acceptable. That's what we do these days. There was a lot of we kind of remarked there's a lot of over cussing, kind of to like establish like maturity, adulthood or maturity. Right. Yeah, that was kind of like nobody really talks like that in real life, especially now as kind of adults.
Right. I feel like we can relate though. We were saying we could relate. Like,
you want to establish yourself.
Like high school Viet and Bryan were like, F this, we're tough.
So yeah, go ahead.
So they loop this guy in, Joey. They loop him in, and he's comes from it's a public school, but it's like Clueless, where it's like a public school, but you got like a wide, you got like your super rich kids, and like, so this guy, he's got money.
I mean, they go to school in a castle.
That's right. They have enough money to, what was it? He started off with $30. It was $30.
$30 to take out the older shrew sister so that he could go, and that wasn't enough.
By the way, so we've written down all of the different negotiations, like what Heath Ledger was able to get himself up to by the end of the movie, and we got the conversion rate. So I think it started off 30. He brought it up to 50.
Yeah, that was the initial 50.
And then later on in the movie, it was $100 per date, and then it got closer to prom, which is that's always the pinnacle of every high school.
Just like a wedding, if you add a prom to the price of everything, just goes up. The price of service.
So then he got $300 for that, and I think my good buddy Bryan here, he did the conversion rate. How much did Heath Ledger make in 2019 money?
$450
$450
for a high school student.
for a high school kid.
Doing well.
Not bad.
Doing very well.
Not bad. That's like Xbox. That's like
Yeah,
Xbox. That's nice.
It's a full
That's
package.
nice.
It gets
That's
you a
good.
lot. So $450. It's probably chump change to these kids at that point, because I mean they were handed around, like Viet was saying. It was a very well-to-do school and place. And I guess since we've already kind of sprang forward, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens.
We'll cover some. We'll cover some of that as we go through some of our notes of the movie, some of our thoughts about the movie. But to cut it short, falls in love. Man, what? who could have imagined Heath Ledger falls in love?
Spoiler alert.
And I also feel like that was the premise of like a lot of like '90s rom-coms. Wasn't Freddie Prinze Jr. in a movie where it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like date this chick because she's like uncool and I'm gonna make her
over
cool
over a bet,
and
Always
then he
a
falls
bet.
in love with her. So it's like that was kind of like
that was
a thing back then. It was a thing back then.
Right.
So that happens. They fall in love. She falls in love with him. The end.
Well, there's the turn.
Yeah.
When she finds out he's doing it for money, although he's fallen for her genuinely, but he's still taking money.
The turn lasts from prom until Monday when she gives a poem that lists 10 things she hates about him.
Yeah.
The last of which
Sorry.
is that she actually doesn't hate him at all.
It's a 97-minute movie, and I had to wait 90 minutes to find out what the 10 things actually were, which is like, all right, fine.
Right. So a fact about this movie, a little background fact, but the name for the movie was actually a diary entry by the screenwriter, the person that wrote this movie. In her diary growing up, one of her entries was 10 things I hate about you. And they were like, that's perfect. And so they used that as the title for the film. All right, let's sort of like get into some of our overall impressions. I gotta say, it holds up. It was entertaining.
A++. It was, we watched it the whole time. I have a bad habit of stopping movies to talk about it during, so I wanted to continue and power through, but I did have this urge to stop and like point out random little things. I thought I saw Ryan Gosling.
By the way, it wasn't.
I thought I saw like modern present day Harley Quinn as
Margot
played
Robbie.
by Margot Robbie. It also was not.
It was not her. It was not. There was no like time jump thing.
Well, I feel like there was one more.
Shout out to D Wade's wife.
Yeah, that was what I was going to ask you. She had to be the most surprising, like, future star in the movie, because like kind of everybody else we knew was in it that either was somebody or became somebody. But Gabrielle Union was in this movie, and
also like as like the biggest joke to anyone of our generation was that she was like the you didn't get the main chick. She was like
the lackey.
Yeah, I was like
Gabrielle Union.
That was an upgrade, my dude. You didn't get the main chick. Congratulations.
You failed up. You failed up.
Yeah, failing up in life, and everyone just kind of like passed on her. She was the floozy.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
Shout out Miss D Wade.
Miss D Wade.
Yeah. Another thing I started pointing out. There was a sweater vest count. I was into sweater vests a lot in junior high and high school. I think I had 6, like between 8th grade and like junior year of high school.
Sweater game.
So I did, and I started noticing them. I started noticing them in the movie, and there was a confirmed 6 sweater vests in the movie.
6 confirmed.
6 confirmed.
It's pretty good.
Probably more, but that's what we found.
Mostly by the one Jewish kid. That was his sweater guess. His sweater vest game was strong. It was like a young.
The
Bryan.
future NBAs had one. That the places you'd expect to see them is where they were.
True. So my question for you is: have you seen Julia Stiles in anything lately? Does she do stuff anymore?
I haven't seen her honestly since the Bourne.
She wasn't Bourne.
Yeah, since the Bourne trilogy, she was always. She wasn't Pamela Landy. She was his point of contact to the entity, whatever it was called, like Blackwater. 15 different times it changed names, I feel like.
But even then, that's kind of a while back.
Yeah, we're going on a decade from that even. Yeah. I don't know. I know we had this discussion about, you remember her primarily from being a dancer. Which I remember.
That was my impression.
Yeah, I remember.
I was like, well, she's like a dancer or something.
So this is like
dance scene, like she had a dance solo scene. Got up on a table. Like,
very Coyote Ugly.
Yep.
But then so this was like a quasi breakout role for a lot of people. I don't know. I mean, this was definitely her she was the main, which is kind of funny because she was the main female lead, but the main male lead was not her. You know, Heath Ledger wasn't the main male lead, was he? I don't know. Maybe we could discuss that.
I considered him the main lead.
I kind of thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt might have, but I guess definitely by like title, he's like Heath Ledger was the main lead. So
yeah.
I mean,
also his first movie, and I actually know this from watching a documentary on Heath Ledger. Also, rest in pieces. He incredible actor. He was great. He was so charming in this role.
Kept the Australian accent.
Kept the Australian accent. I forgot about this role. I thought that was good work. Good strong work. He actually hated this from his documentary. He hated this movie. He didn't want to do rom-coms. He didn't want to do this kind of show. And they told him that if he did this, other projects would open up for him. More kind of artistic and highbrow stuff that he wanted to get into. He was
interesting.
He took his crap seriously, you know. And if you watch Dark Knight and his legendary portrayal of Joker, I mean, a superstar was born. It's really tragic. You know, he left us too soon, man. He was too pure. We were talking about this. He was too pure.
Even in his backstory. So the murkiness of who he was as a character was really well done, I think, because this typical bad boy who came in from another school, and there are just like legends of this guy and what he used to do, and he's selling his own liver on the black market and like spending the previous year in San Quentin, which is like a famous prison,
right?
And just all these things that kind of get spread through grapevine, which is very like typical high school stuff, but like it's also kind of true. Like there were definitely people that kind of had weird backstories that you didn't know, and then as the character develops and as the story develops, you kind of find out he was spending time with his grandfather, who was like, I don't know if he died. Was he dying or towards the end of his life? Just needed help, basically.
He was helping.
It's like, he was just, he was kind of brooding. He was kind of brooding, kept to himself, and like had interests that were. He had a rough exterior, but he really was like nice and soft and like pleasant at the core.
Pure. It's just too pure for this world, man. Just too pure. He was a superstar in the making for sure, if not already. Like I think, man, you can only imagine now where his
it was going to be a gigantic launching point. Incredible.
Let's see here. I wrote down Stiles, Julia Stiles shows up, kind of OG Ronda Rousey. Her first scene just shows up, all bad reputation, Joan Jett blaring. It's like looking over at the other chicks like, hey man, I don't give a
Yeah, the juxtaposition was great. They're in a tiny little VW like convertible listening to like teeny bopper of the day music, and she pulls up in her gruff Rust-Oleum bucket, and like all I know it is the theme to Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about your bad reputation. Like that's what she's blaring, and she's just like mean mugging them, and they have like their responses are just great because they're just like mouth agape, like who is this person?
Dude.
Then she moves on with her life.
That was great. And another highlight, the counselor with a foul mouth, and also like the first 15 minutes of like any scene she was in, like the first 15 minutes of the movie, she wasn't in as much.
That was it.
Yeah, like early on though, like basically just trying to find different euphemisms for penis.
She was writing a book. What do they call it?
The OG of fanfic, man. Like 50 Shades of Grey. Like the person that wrote 50 Shades of Grey was like, yo, that's a good idea. Had a nice steaming bratwurst.
Yeah, there was a lot of that was all her
Engorged.
character was. Played by Allison Janney.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Right. Allison Janney of like Juno fame.
Is that
she's gone
her
on
picture?
Yeah.
Wow,
of Juno fame. She's gone on to play she was in The Help.
Okay.
Let's see. Currently on CBS,
yeah,
Mom with Anna Faris.
Yeah, she's one of those faces that like you just kind of recognize her. You've seen her. You've seen her.
Good stuff. Oh, she was in The Mom and Tanya.
Oh, okay.
Like played a real hardcore. Like, did she get like any kind of buzz for that? Or
also with Margot Robbie. So bring
Margot back.
Bring her around full circle. No, I don't know if she actually got any. I haven't seen. But
we're too busy watching old movies. Yeah. We'll get to 2019 and 2039.
Right. So let's see here. Early on, we were introduced to Joey as a bad boy, good looking. That the show him off. He's got a lot. He's
the typical cool kid in school.
Right.
He just was a handsome guy.
Got the muscles.
Got the muscle. Yeah. He's just a little. He hit puberty a little earlier than the rest of us. That's all.
Let me tell you right now. He would be in a Gillette commercial. He would be the guy. Be like, hey, the other guy's like, no, hey, no. It's cool, bro. It's cool.
He played that character. He'd be cool today, actually. Yeah. Any fast facts you had just about that stood out to you?
Fast facts?
Well, not fast facts. Or just like anything that caught your attention about the movie.
I think we were talking about it like while we were doing it, while we were watching it.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He had this scene. It was kind of like a turning point for him because up until then he was just sort of like this guy that was like friend zoned. Yeah. And was helping this. I don't know how he didn't understand that he was helping the girl that he really liked.
Yeah.
Get his like. It was pretty clear that he was helping set her up with this guy that he so clearly despised. And then it was like, oh man, you liked this guy the entire time, and like I did all these things for you, and it was kind of like, you can't complain about, like, he was like, I learned French for you. It's like, yeah, you learned something to impress a girl. It's like, so does every guy.
That's called being a guy. We were talking about that. Well, so Viet remarked about like, being young and like the things you'll do and like how you're basically willing to check your pride. Like you want to have pride and like say like when she comes back to you, like, no.
Right, because there was a scene. They were at the party.
Yeah.
They had this confrontation. He said, like, hey, you basically were kind of using me. I did all these things for you, like, blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, yeah, but I need a ride. And he was like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can definitely put yourself in those shoes. So Viet kind of remarked about, like, being young. I was like, that's not a young guy thing. We're just different situationally. We're married now. So, like, we don't have to worry about that stuff. But there are 35-year-old guys out there, like, checking their pride at this moment to give somebody a ride home.
Yo, check your pride. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. You ignored me all evening, but man, I'll give you.
I mean, you want my attention now? Okay, why not?
Right. So I guess more broad strokes on this, but a very fairly progressive movie in terms of. I mean, I don't know if it was a. I think. You made a comment about it, like, was this like a lesbian bar? Or,
yeah.
Like the day they went to? It looked like it.
It gave the impression.
It gave the impression. But it wasn't like this was this is where the others go, which I feel like would have been a popular impression of a place like that in 1999. Instead, it was, hey, check it out. This is cool. Like, the people here are really cool. They're having a great time. I feel like in many ways it was very progressive in the ways they...
She kind of made it a non-issue. Like, instead of, like, saying, like, hey, this... Because she was very clearly, like, a feminist character. Like, that was her vein, and, like, a lot of the dialogue that she had was just... That was the vein running through it. So in context, it made sense that she would go to a place like this where, kind of women congregate. But they weren't, like, angry. They were just, like, a lot of women, like, very confident with themselves... Right. At this place, and you're just kind of like, they're leading you there without, it's still 1999 basically, so there was still a little bit of like vagueness. I think
so.
Yeah. So he goes there to kind of court her on her terms because he's just trying to take an interest. Meanwhile, he's still getting paid for this stuff, so he's trying to take an interest in her
at the time.
Yeah, he wasn't quite fallen yet.
Sure. I think it's so there was that scene that was kind of like part of the courtship. She obviously kind of started getting a little interested in him at that point, and then they had the party later on in the movie where Julia Stiles' character got drunk, started dancing on a table. They had a lot of fun. This is also the.
I'm convinced that's what got her the job for Save the Last Dance.
Dude, that's my impression of her. My Julia Stiles is a dancer.
She had dance
She's
moves.
a dancer.
She had dance moves. It wasn't fake.
She's good.
Which is all the more impressive when you see the outtakes and there's no music going on at any of these parties, like because everybody in the background's moving, but there's no because they need the clear audio for the dialogue.
That's right. They during the credits scene, pretty incredible. They showed the outtakes, but there's no
all the party scenes.
There was no diegetic.
There was
no diegetic sound, so it was just the audio from the vocals.
So all you hear is like the vocals, and then like you hear just a lot of stomping of feet and like rhythmic. Yeah. One thing that stood out to me, I was trying to find out what was maybe definitely my favorite song, but I would still argue maybe the biggest song from that era that was in this movie was "Hypnotize" by Biggie.
Oh yeah.
What part did it play? Do you remember when it played?
Oh man, I think it was
that was the dance.
I think it was the dance.
That was the dance.
When she was dancing on. When she was dancing on.
Yeah, that was. They didn't skimp on expenses for like the soundtrack.
The soundtrack was legit. The soundtrack was legit.
There was also kind of an in-house band for the movie that appeared 3 different times.
I'm forgetting.
I should probably look it up.
Were,
but but anyway, they were good. They were. I think my note about them was that they were not No Doubt, but No Doubt. not No Doubt. How about that? Fake No Doubt band.
Fake No Doubt.
Playing was peak 1999. That's what I had. That was my note about them. And another kind of expense part was like the ending shot.
Letters to Cleo.
The ending shot is on this picturesque Seattle high school campus that is overlooking some inlet or port, or I don't know the topography of Seattle very well, but it's overlooking like the city and like a very, very pretty part of it.
Right.
And they are like situated on top of this, on top of the building in the center scene. And like we remarked like how easy in 2019 it is to get that shot with like drones and the power of them and whatever. But basically like we realized like they just kind of had to have like a helicopter just like circling as they performed on the top of this school.
Helicopter got a credit.
Helicopter did get a credit. That's how I knew it was a helicopter.
But a gorgeous shot, but so it's
expensive.
Expensive. And
so we looked up some facts about it. It cost we didn't do the conversion, but it cost $13 million was the budget for it, and the worldwide box office was $60 million. So it was definitely a success.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 5 times return, 4.5 times return.
Profitable. Launched the careers of Julia Stiles and Heath Ledger.
Definitely. I mean, I guess Joseph Gordon-Levitt was already like, was he Third Rock from the Sun?
He was Third Rock from the Sun.
He was much younger, but he like Radio Flyer. He had a lot. He was a kid actor.
Yeah,
he's like done it well. He's like a kid actor that's like mostly stayed well adjusted.
Yeah,
he has his quirks, but
he really had his time like there, like 2013, 2014, like
that, like Inception,
and then like Dark Knight Rises,
500 Days of Summer.
500 Days of Summer, I think was like before that. I think that was like 2010. But
okay,
he kind of had his run, and then like he had that movie that he directed.
Genius. That's the most genius move in the history of cinema. When he directed himself,
he was like, "I'm gonna be the bro that gets Scarlett Johansson."
Bravo.
And then like also had a sesh with what was that actress?
Like dated in real life? I mean, there was Zooey Deschanel.
No, I was talking about that movie. The movie.
I never actually saw it. I just know like the premise of it was like he's a sex addict and he cast Scarlett Johansson opposite himself.
Oh, Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore.
Yeah. He did well for himself.
He's okay. He's okay.
But again, that scene was just so it was so crazy to me because it's like you had 2 scenes where it was the guy driving one of the sisters back from this party.
So Heath Ledger is driving. She got really drunk at this party, tossed her cookies. Sorry, threw up all over his shoes. He's driving her home, and she's kind of falling for him, but it may be like the alcohol. And then in the other car, where he's checked his pride, he's given the girl a ride home, and he's reading her the riot act. Joseph.
The
other actress is Larissa Olenek, who probably had some other stuff. Her name was Bianca in the movie.
Bianca. Yeah, right. So Bianca was like the apple of like everyone's. It was like the super popular chick in the movie, and he was like, "Oh man, like I like learned French for you and like all this stuff." And she was like, "Oh, well, you totally proved your worth because I didn't get this other guy. So let's make out.
Let's make out." So she kisses him.
Versus Too Pure for This World, Heath Ledger.
Well, Julia Stiles, they both. That was the thing. The girls the dad had right to like be concerned because they both made the moves.
Both made the moves.
Julia Stiles leans over to get her kiss in, and she's sitting there pouty lipped, and Heath is kind of looking at her, thinking about it, considering it, and decides not like this.
No, because he was woke before like hashtags, man. Like that dude was like, "Yo, you can't give me your consent because you've been drinking tonight. Let me take you to your house. I'm gonna go home. I'll see you tomorrow."
Yeah, and that was the gist of that.
Just a good dude. It's like he was a good guy. He was a good guy. That was basically what I took away from the movie was Heath Ledger is too pure for this world.
You were Heath Ledgering.
Yeah.
You were having a moment over Heath Ledger that entire time. I'm really appreciating we got that. So we'll try and get some Heath Ledger in the rotation in the future.
Right. Unfortunately, we're limited. We got Brokeback Mountain.
Is that a rom-com? It's more the comedy. It's romantic.
Rom-dram. That's a downer of a movie.
Let's see. I don't know. What any other notes? Any other thing we should?
I think closing thoughts. For me, again, I thought it was an incredibly progressive movie for its time. I thought Julia Stiles is a woman that and. So we're recording this. This is, at this point, it is Saturday
now.
January 19th, 2019, Women's March. It's going to be happening this weekend. Julia Stiles is definitely the kind of chick that would have been there at that march.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
organizing.
Maybe organizing, maybe speaking at it. A very progressive woman, held very strong feminist ideals, and was... not afraid of speaking up, standing up for herself.
But also with, like, the 1999 Times, people were very okay, like, rolling their eyes at her and saying, like, that's great that you have ideas, but, like...
Oh, yeah. It's
like,
that
stop.
time in a month.
Yeah,
they kept on saying stuff like that, like,
yeah.
"Oh, did you say something crazy? Or did you say something I don't agree with?" You
might need to, like... Yeah, is it that time of the month? It was kind of like
so
the
and that's kind
taking the fault for everything.
So it's like good on us for improving as men and not being complete idiots anymore. We're still working on it. Thanks, Gillette, pushed us in the right direction.
That's topical. We should tag Gillette in this. We'll get a lot of hate. We'll get hate. Nobody's watching this. We'll get hate. We'll get love. We get eyes. That's all that matters.
Right.
My take on it was very representative of what I remember the 1990s to be in 1999. And, you can always put yourself in... For 90% of the guys that went to high schools across the land, like, we're all pretty much identifying with Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that role. Like, we can all kind of put ourselves in those shoes. I mean, there are some another 5% that are Heath Ledgers, and there's another 5% that are Joeys. But the rest of us schmucks pretty much, fall into that category.
Right, for sure.
But it was, just interesting to see how true it was. Also, HD's helping nobody when you watch these old movies, flaws and all. Like, you didn't have to be very good at makeup. Especially, I noticed it in the guys the most, I think. Makeup was something
funny.
that spoke to me. But yeah, seems like we're running out of steam.
We are a little bit. I think the last thing is just a numerical score. Let's just go like 1 to 10. I
thought we were doing 1 to 7.
You want to go 1 to 7? Let's go 1 to 7.
7.
All right, 1 to 7. Our scale is 1 to 7. What do you give this movie?
6.43. I liked it a lot. I really liked this movie. It was quite surprising, given that I didn't remember too much about it. I remember having watched it, but it was a good one to start on. I think there's a lot to like about it. The story was good. I was compelled to keep watching it for itself, not just because this is what we decided to choose. Like, I was invested in the characters. I liked, postmortem, like, Heath Ledger kept me entertained, and I think I just liked seeing these people who weren't yet stars kind of being who they were before they were who they became. If that was like a word soup enough for you, if that makes sense. But I really liked it. I liked it a lot.
I think
Give me a solid 6.
Yeah.
Just a 6.
I think I was gonna go with a 6. I think just you felt like genuine chemistry. I think beyond anything else,
Yeah.
like it looked like the cast, like that was a cast that like really got each other. Like you felt like they
kids
were
that
friends
grew together. Yeah,
You kind of felt like they were friends. Like these were people that bonded and had a bit of chemistry. And you know, you watch that and you kind of a lot of hate on the Joey character, but apparently he was a hoot. Like,
Yeah,
it was a comic relief.
It was
nice.
nice
Comic
to
relief on the set was a really good dude. So. Yeah, I would give it a 6. Again, I thought it was very progressive for its time. I thought that it had a lot of very strong, like, empowering messages for young women, sort of stand up for themselves. And, you know, like, you usually have, like, these big, like, if there's any violence in, like, these kind of rom-coms, it's usually, like, the guy, like, the white knight that gets to come and have the moment where he saves the girl. But in this movie, like, the guy had his romantic grand gesture, but when it came to sort of, like, that white knight moment, it was actually the chick, Bianca, the girl that was the popular girl, the girl that all the guys were infatuated with. She was the one that ultimately came in and punched the bully in the face and then kneed him in the nuts and knocked him over. She saved the day and stood up for herself and stood up for, and it was kind of like, no, like you know, like you're kind of like a jerk to me, and you know, I'm not defined by you or what you think about me, and you know, I'm gonna have a good time. And she was actually defending Joseph Gordon-Levitt's honor, who just got like smashed by this.
Who was
dude.
attempting to defend her?
Yeah,
honor.
right.
It was an inversion of the.
So
roles.
I thought that was great.
That is great. While you're vamping,
So,
sorry. I know there's some people like that are still with us. If you guys have any questions or comments, from what you remember, I know it's probably futile, but at least ask. Like if there's anything.
Right. If you're joining us live, we appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, movies that you might
that you would suggest. It's open.
Right now, season 1, we're only looking at rom-coms. If you have rom-coms that you think, hey, maybe
I think we have a slot for Cruel Intentions. It sounds like
maybe a slot for Cruel. Cruel Intentions. It's not really a rom-com.
That's true, but
we'll see.
We'll figure a way to
see if we
get
can
it
figure it
somewhere.
out.
Bonus content.
Fans of Cruel Intention. Maybe that's just like on the back. You know, like back in the day, we had like these. You young kids don't know, but we had these physical mediums called DVDs, and if you took the other one in, it had special features. Sometimes you got to go behind the scenes. maybe that would be it. Anyways, we'll put polls up. Come check us out. You can follow us Twitter at Bros. You can follow this guy at BBCardus.
BBCARDUS.
And you can come check out our website at brosbros.com.
At Face the Facts.
Oh yeah, at Face the Facts. If you want to follow me on Twitter, overrated. And you know, we'll probably be trying to be more engaging with you guys going forward. We'll be on Periscope, Facebook Live. We'll be doing all of it.
Go ahead.
Oh, you were right. So yeah, check us out on those platforms. We're also going to be posting this onto our Facebook page. Again, you can be checking this video out. If you're not seeing it live here on Facebook, you can also, if you're hearing me now, you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. If you're listening to us now on Facebook, you can also check us out on YouTube. Check us out, Bros. Just look us up. We appreciate it. And that's his thing. All right, guys. Until next time.
See you later.
This is the movie manual?
The movie manual.
The movie manual. All right, man. The movie manual.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one.
That was fun.
That was good.
That was good, yeah. It was good. Does this mean they stayed, or does that mean they just joined and left? Do we know?
It's hard to tell.
Okay. 37 minutes. That's not bad.
Yeah.